everyone, namaste. I am Kamala and I'm from Nepal. Today I'm going to share with you one of the important things that I have learned that has made an impact in my personal life. That is the idea of minimalism, which basically means having fewer things, intentionally living with only the things that we really need, those items that support our purpose in life. To start with, actually, I didn't come from a very wealthy background such that I would be able to buy a lot of things. Even then, I loved material. I remember I bought whatever I could afford, or at least had the desires to buy them. Also, back in the few years, as we know, with the current digitalized world, I had access to anything on our fingertips. I wouldn't even have to get out of my house, and then it would come to my house in one click, in one order. So all the social medias and the constant advertisements right on my hand, the new brands or anything new, used to be very tempting. So I used to buy a lot of dresses, jewelries, makeup, snacks that are not healthy, things to decorate my house randomly with no plans actually. So in comparison to now, I was actually a huge consumer, I would say. So when I was like that, how did I decide to be a minimalist? In 2018, um, unexpected things happened in my life. I realized I needed to change the way I was living. I was happy, but I wasn't that satisfied. So I started questioning, what is the purpose of my life? How can I live a life with virtues? So to make my life actually more meaningful, I felt that I needed to change the lens that I was viewing my life. And that would help me. So in a way, that lens would help me to make my life more beautiful and peaceful. I realized it's possible actually to live life in a simpler and happier way without consuming more and more things. And actually, I understood that wanting more and more also meant to me that I am not enough and I don't have enough, and that is why I need more things to complete me. So, to change this perception, I figured out that I can have a more peaceful and happy life by just having enough of what I need. And one of the simplest way for me was basically actually to stop being greedy for materials. And When I was traveling, I saw that I couldn't take all the wonderful things that I had collected in this many years. And I had to travel with a mini luggage. I had to leave my house with mini luggage, leave all the things that I have bought there. So this definitely actually wasn't the first time in my life that I was traveling, but this was a crucial time because of the ongoing things in my life and the way that I have wanted to change the way I was living. So this travel and my idea of living as a minimalist kind of forced me to open my eyes towards more meaningful life. When I was traveling for several days during my travel, I was able to survive with only things I had taken with me. And of course, I had, as I said, I had traveled before, but that time I didn't feel it that way. But this time I was actually feeling it. Oh wow, like I could live with only these things. So this time actually, unlike before, I was actually very grateful. I was able to travel around this freely with peace of mind, and yeah, I didn't have many things this time. I didn't want to consume all the things that I was seeing, but I had a peaceful and happy mind with me. So never like before, honestly. With only few things with me, it was so simple and easy for me to even decide what to wear on that day actually. So after I returned back from my travel, I also understood the idea of, like, I knew what minimalism was, but when I came back from travel, I dig into the concept of minimalism, and then I started got more ideas about minimalism and its benefit. So I understood that accumulating stuffs and having more and more won't ever make me happy, because nothing lasts forever. So all the things I bought also I would have to let go of them. So I chose that one of the life's values as having peace within me and outside of me. And being peaceful, I had experienced how it felt to be peaceful. So it was so wonderful to be at peace that I could never trade it with anything. So I slowly started giving up things that took away my peace. And one of them, definitely, I realized was accumulating materials. And that's when I actually decided, okay, now this is the road I want to travel, the road of minimalism. And there's one saying called, when the student is ready to learn, teacher arrives. So later in 2019, I started working at a law firm in Korea, where I got involved with one of the biggest cases that was to save the environment. This climate litigation actually was filed against the Korean government because nation's climate change law violated youth's fundamental rights, including the right to live, the right to enjoy the clean environment. So, but I definitely knew all these concepts before as well. I have been learning about climate change and the need for us to act immediately. And I knew that conceptually I knew what it was. But when I actually started working with the law firm, I was able to understand the intensity of the problem and the urgent need for all of us to act. Then I realized that it would be so hypocritical of me to be part of this project, talk about climate change, and not act on an individual level. Then I got more convinced that the path of minimalism that I choose is the correct for me and also for the environment to save my earth. So now I became minimalist for sure. Then what stuffs actually, how did I start becoming, and I had to let go of my things. And so how did I let go of the things? Overall, definitely I started buying less. Particularly I stopped buying more dresses, jewelries, makeup products, but among many, you might question, why did I let go of these things? Because this was actually easier for me, for example, in a day I only needed a pair of dress, a bag, and a shoe, like a pair of shoes. I can't obviously wear 4 pair of dresses, carry 4 bags, 4 shoes. So for a week I only needed a few pair of dresses, and so I was able to sort this out, the dresses problem. And in terms of jewelries, they were not necessary. They didn't serve purpose in my life, and they were not and then it was also, for me, it was easy to let go of the jewelry part. In case of home decoration, I wanted to keep it simpler, so there was no need to buy a lot of things to make my home fancy, and thus it was also easy for me to let go of it. But then I still needed things. It was not like I had all the things and I never had to buy anything. But when I really needed something, I had a promise to myself. I'll only buy things that I need, but not things that I want. There could be many things I would want, but I always double checked if I need them or if they serve purpose in my life. Another question that I would want to answer about me is, how did my life changed after being a minimalist? Actually, minimalism made my life so much happier and simpler. It came to my life actually not as a loss, but in fact it enriched my life. Not consuming more and more was kind of a gain for me than loss. Initially I had this idea that, oh wow, you're becoming a minimalist means you are letting go of a lot of things, so that's a kind of loss. That was my initial thought. But after I became a minimalist, I realized that it enriches my life, and there was no loss. I was actually also having things that I needed. It was not like I was depriving of myself of the things. So I started becoming more peaceful. I didn't have to worry about the latest fashion or the brands in the city. But it was also not like I'm totally ignorant and I don't like things at all. I am aware of the things or the latest fashion going on, but it's more like I'm happy they are there. I like seeing those things around, but I don't have this deep urge to buy and to run after it. And like before, kind of worry, how will I get them if I can't get them, and then be sad about it. I didn't have all those kind of feelings. It was more very happy and peaceful after being a minimalist. And another thing that I was able to enjoy after being a minimalist was life was more easier. Now, for example, it's very easy for me to find a pair of dress for me, because I exactly know what to wear for myself, because I only have few things. My closet is now so simple and organized, and this brought joy to my life, a kind of freedom, I would say, and peacefulness. um, Also, being a minimalist saved my time and money, of course. Now there's no need for me to go out for shopping and follow the latest trend and spend my money. Another thing that I started was having quality over quantity things. So let's say instead of buying 5 cheaper things, I would only have to buy 1 quality things now, because then I know it would last longer. So basically, after being a minimalist, my life became so simple, beautiful, organized, and happy. But there are challenges to be a minimalist. We know trying to live simple in this world is actually not so simple. And the idea of letting go isn't also that simple. So one of the challenges, obviously, I think for all the minimalists is like, how do you remove things that you have? Where do you give? Because you wouldn't also want to throw it away just as it is. So it does take time to think and properly let go of that material possession. Fortunately, actually, in my case, I was lucky to find some older people in the community I was living, who would be happily willing to take my stuffs, and then they would sell it in the second-hand market. So that was something very easy for me. I could just immediately go and give them my stuffs. So I actually don't call it a challenge for me. When I'm actually sharing all this, I deeply believe that one should not deprive themselves of their necessity in the name of minimalism. Have it if that adds value to your life, and everyone's value is different, but we have to make sure that it doesn't hurt us and it doesn't take away our peace and happiness. But please do understand that to be a minimalist isn't a loss, but instead it's a gain, and it will enrich your life as it has done mine and several others. And another thing actually is, every version of minimalism is different. Mine wouldn't match with that of yours or others, and the benefit that I receive by practicing minimalism would be very different than that of yours. Choose yours. Lastly, I wish we could all practice minimalism in one way or the other, because simple is always beautiful, and this way we can save our mother nature, our climate, our environment for our future generations. Thank you very much for listening to me. Namaste.